So, hello everyone, welcome to the Harbor Satellite weekly meeting where we discuss progress updates regarding Harbor Satellite. And today on the agenda we have, let me show this quickly. You should see it now, right? The satellite. Okay.
Vadim, can you enlarge a bit more? Because I have to take this meeting now off my phone
Okay.
because I'm at work and it's really difficult.
Is it better now?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, good. Let's take a look at the current projects that we have. Yeah, there are actually 3 pull requests. I did miss that somehow. Oh yeah, that because they're mostly from today and this morning, right? So let's go over the pull request and then we can discuss the open issues. Okay, the skeleton code is from Philip. Yeah, from Philip, and then let's take a
This is like very little thought put into it,
yeah,
but it's basically just to get us somewhere with like a main.go file and some sort of logic. So it's basically from this we should be able to do some sort of get going from something at least. I couldn't, yeah. The only thing we need to change is whatever store is, it should be called something else. I couldn't figure something out.
The store is the place where you, well, is this
lists synchronized images that should be synchronized.
okay?
So the replicator replicates images. And then I don't know really what the other word should be.
Well, this part is then, in my opinion, it's the list of images, right?
Yeah.
No, but for the interface naming, how about persister? That's even worse than store, but that's what it does basically, right?
Well, it's like no. So the replicator is the one the interface that represents the logic that is like going to be Scopio or whatever.
Okay.
This is kind of the metadata fetcher. I don't know what to call it.
Yeah,
What
but
do you want this interface to do? So list I see is one of them.
Yeah, so the one thing,
Oh,
so
yeah,
this is like the thing that would talk to ground control or have a static file implementation or whatever to define images.
Well, I will meditate. I will meditate on this because I can't think of anything better either.
I spent maybe 20 minutes thinking and then I couldn't come up with something, so I just gave up and I gave it a name.
I mean, replicator sounds good to me as an option because yeah, the replicator.
I think in that case we should give the name replicate to the store and then change change replicate to something else in that case if we want to do it.
Yeah, because we have the command replicate, right? No, where do we have to replicate?
So
yeah, the replicator. Yeah, we have the replicator here.
Yeah. So and that would.
Oh, okay. Yeah, this.
I don't think we need to take too much of a meeting time on this, but if somebody wants to think about it and give it a better name or give a suggestion, I'm all for it.
Why not call it an artifact store? You know, being more precise.
That would work.
Or artifact source or artifact source. Artifact
has to be a verb. Has to be a verb though.
Let's
artifact sourcer.
Yeah. let's do like this. Because I know it's easy to spend like
Yeah.
a lot of time on these types of things. Think about it, put in your ideas exactly, and then we can like discuss it offline or take it next meeting, or hopefully we'll figure this out in like a day or two. It doesn't have to be perfect either. I just want to give some stubs of just give an idea. Great, now we have a main file. Now we have something to actually do PRs to. The only thing that I suggest, which is something that I've been thinking about myself for a while, is and you can probably say yes or no to this, is the different implementations of the interfaces should be put in packages due to the way how Go importing works. If we were to export this and we would have multiple implementations and somebody wanted to import this specific implementation, we want to limit the indirect imports, basically, if that makes sense. Kind of a thing. So if you do end up implementing a implementation or replicate, please put it in a package, is what I'm trying to get at. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Yep,
I
it
tried to-
does.
Yeah.
It does. Yeah.
Because I've realized I did it incorrectly in Spiegel, and I'm trying to kind of fix that there. So I felt like let's not do the same mistake here.
Okay. Well, in my opinion, this looks good. I mean, it's a good start, right? And you also added some
Yeah.
debug functionality, right?
Just pprof and stuff like that, just to make it easy to get metrics and yeah, nothing fancy hard coded stuff, just to get us something going.
Okay. I mean, in my opinion, that looks good. It's a good start. It's a step forward.
I think we can merge this, and then we can change the name to store of store in the future if we want to.
Yeah, the pipeline will run now.
Oh, great, the pipeline runs. There we go.
Yes, because it was configured to
Ah,
run on
yeah.
approval.
Okay, so then we have some other tasks from Roland, and then we have this MTR and ADR. Okay, right. So we have the structure as following. We have the decisions, the node modules, because it's a JavaScript thingy probably, right? We have the templates, which is the markdown template for markdown lint. All right, this is the template for
Wait, why do you need JavaScript for this?
I would guess because it's a JavaScript library, right?
Yeah, that's what I found. I followed the link that was in the issue, and it was a NPM library, so I added that.
Well, I vote to simplify this as much as possible and just add the template and agree that decisions will follow that template, and there's no need to bloat this with any external dependency.
I'm all up for that because I also don't think we need a CLI to create an ADR, and we can use this template as a starting point.
Yes,
What I would add here a second template, right? So we have
because there's two templates. One that's a bit more complete, longer one. This one, the ADR
one.
template, and then there's the 0000.
This one.
Yeah, that one's the shorter version.
Okay, so I would move this template into docs.
So they're already in the. There's two times the templates.
Yeah, okay, yeah, but okay.
But yeah,
so
if we move.
The only thing you need to do is just get rid of the node modules altogether, and the package locks, and just leave the template in the docs. And yeah, that's about it. Maybe something I've been thinking about is it would be nice to have an issue template and a PR template as well. and you could just say in the issue template that, yeah, follow this ADR markdown here, and then we're done. And then there's no need for JavaScript.
Yeah.
Okay.
The only thing, if we're using issue and PR templates, please use the new preview version of it. It's easy to get those mixed up.
Do you have some references? Is it kind of GitHub?
Yeah, so if you go into GitHub issue templates, there are like it's really annoying actually. So if you go into like actual settings in the repo, there is like one way of creating issue templates, but then there is like issue forms that are like beta, but is a lot more powerful. Yeah, exactly this. So use issue forms instead of issue templates if possible. And the nice thing with issue forms is that when you just fill in stuff, like you can technically like change, or I'm guessing you could create the ADR record into an issue form if you wanted to,
Yep.
which would be nice. But then again, also, if you, depending on how complex it is, don't spend too much time on it. Yeah.
Okay.
I'll look into this. I'll look into this. I feel like I'm the resident infra DevOps guy in this group. So yeah.
Okay, and then we need to remove the mod. Yeah, and then I'll add some remove here. Yeah, road node modules, and then road, and right. Okay. So it's basically package JSON, yeah. Just okay, good. Then we can. That's good. Regarding this template, should I create an issue for that quickly? For that one?
Yes, please. That would be just drop two sentences on it, and I'll take it from there and flesh it out.
Create issue template and also PR template. Okay.
Yeah, and just assign me to it while we're at it, Vadim.
Project satellite. Status. Okay, good. Then we have the next one, ADR for registry choice. Okay, this is the ADR for registry choice. Let's take a look. Let's ignore the other one. Well, maybe we should start with this Skopje versus Crane first, right?
Yeah, exactly. There's both of them now.
I have a question before we get deep into it, because I missed last week, which I'm retroactively sorry for. But did we decide to have a separate registry outside Harbor? Because all of this is irrelevant if we bake the registry into Harbor Satellite.
Yes. So we basically decided that the image replication would be one feature, which would be basically agnostic of whatever registry that you're running. Correct me if I'm wrong.
So
I understand, but wasn't there a scenario where that OCI registry was part of Satellite?
Most likely, it really depends. I think that was one of those things that we were discussing initially, was implementing running satellite. But what we like in my head, at least, like for that type of use case, running Spiegel would kind of solve that issue for you. So it would basically, unless you're like, the two solutions that exist when it comes to like having a registry and satellite would either be satellite implementing what, for example, Zot is already doing. And I think Zot does a pretty good job at implementing a lightweight registry, or implementing Harbor, which would be like a more featureful registry, but it's like a bit heavier to run. So either satellite would be have a stateful component and implement what other registries are doing, or a satellite would basically be stateless and implement what Spiegel is already doing.
Exactly. So this is the two use cases, right? And I think the registry decision is based on the use case number 1 here that we have. And here we need to have some sort of OCI registry, right, in this use case.
Yeah, that makes sense. But is that what the customers would want to see? That they already have something provisioned on the edge in terms of OCI registry and just interact with it?
Well, now you're opening up another can here. It might be, right? So it might be that there is already a registry in there, and that, yeah, might be the use case. But I think like if we provide a kind of a ready-made solution, it makes no difference if there is an existing registry or not.
Okay. Okay.
Because the registry they would probably have is either a very simplistic one, and in a simplistic one, every alternative that we provide is good enough. Or they have something more advanced and that was feature rich, like a full-blown Harbor, and they would want to switch, and they maybe don't want to use satellite in this use case. Yeah, so this is the case, and that's why I think we need to have a registry. And I talked also to Roald this morning, and I said, like, when we talk about the registry capabilities, Docker distribution is a bit too heavy, in my opinion. Zot might be a good registry, or running your own might be in the long run the best option, right? So if you implement your registry and you store the images, you can probably in the long run can create quite a lean solution. However, in the context of the short-term solution, getting it into one thing is in my opinion, or getting something that, or using something that is ready-made or usable, like Zot or Docker distribution, is in a short run maybe the better idea to get something running right now, so we can implement the use case or have the use case running.
Yes, I agree. I'm just sorry, go ahead.
Yeah.
No, I'm looking at it from an operational perspective. So when you say, I'm all for reusing something like Zot that has already done what we need to do, but would you deploy them? How would the deployment chain look like? Would it have to exist before satellite gets deployed? Or do they get deployed together?
Well, I would do it the following way. I would probably build a binary that contains the other registry, like Zot or Docker distribution in satellite. I just import as a binary,
okay.
as a library.
I understand.
And create a one big binary to do so. And later on, we can create a second binary, just doesn't have maybe the satellite, but that has satellite without the registry.
Then I didn't phrase the question. Yeah, so because this is what I was asking, but I didn't phrase it correctly then. Because that means they're baked into the same like binary together, right? So it's one single binary that you distribute, and it has the Harbor code, and then it has Zot as well.
Yeah, so this is I would think that this is, from the operational perspective, is the easiest option.
But I think that's also deployment logic, kind of, in the sense of how we run this is kind of like in the sense of how Scopio or Crane replicates images is kind of irrelevant for how the registry is actually deployed. So yeah. And I think just having a simple solution initially is like will help us discuss a lot of things when it comes to like features, figuring out, for example, how do you track internet dropping, coming back up, images being deployed, deleted from registries, all these types of things is kind of irrelevant of how you bake the registry in.
Yes. Yeah. And I think we can then, later on we can decide, to implement it, because another point also important, this is also what I mentioned to Roald in the RFC, that we can maybe take a look closer together, is we need to identify or discuss this interface here between satellite and the registry, because this interface, when you look at the data that is flowing in this direction and the interface, and this interface might be different, and I think we should strive for having the same type of interface here.
Yeah, that I definitely like. The replicator or whatever would be basically the integration towards whatever would be here, and we need to pass enough information to make sure that that is like relevant and then also allows some sort of communication back and forth.
Yeah. So one option would be to choose the OCI interface, right? To treat this part here as OCI only.
Yeah.
Well, then we need to change this side, because this is then there would be no pull instructions, but
Yeah, it would be a push basically. Yeah.
push then, like the same as here. Or when we have it, or we have, if we have like pull, let's say we come to agreement that pull instruction is the right interface, then this is, let's say here is correct, right? So then it's satellite sends pull instructions to Spiegel, and Spiegel does the job. And here we have pull instructions, but pull instructions, there needs to be an implementation in between, right? So we need to have a kind of translation of pull instructions into pull and push commands, right? So then in this in layer in between, this is where something like Crane would sit, that would take on the pull instructions and translate them into push image pushes to the registry. This is like the other interface, right? So we have to identify, okay, what interface do we want to go with? Maybe we already have an idea, or some ideas. What is the good solution here?
Well, it's like that's kind of the idea where like the just the skeleton code just sets up is kind of, and it's obviously going to change a lot, is just like my simple solution was really just to, okay, great, the replicator takes a replicate function, and the replicate function in that case could be, for example, a replicator could be the Crane implementation of it that gets an image ref. It would also then need to know like the target registry that it's pushing to, and then that implementation is kind of responsible for pulling the image and moving it around. And then there would be like a Spiegel implementation that would also get like a replicate solution. You obviously in the replicator would also need a function to be able to list existing images in the existing whatever you're replicating to be able to figure out what the diff between things are. So there's a lot of aspects there where like functions are obviously missing.
Okay.
So that's like my idea is basically if we just get something in there, we can start working on like a quick store file to contain all the images that should be replicated. And then we can get like or you can create an in-memory version of the store interface, and then you can create a replicator that starts doing things. And then we can get something at least that kind of looks like it would work. And I think that's going to immediately show all the different problems and all the future challenges that we're going to have in implementing this.
Okay. Okay. Good. Yeah, so maybe then we should go to the ADR here. So what is the difference between those two PRs? One is the registry of Joule for the registry, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's start with the first one then, right? So this is the Scopio part. So the Scopio part is the decision, yeah, where we thought about Crane or Scopio. And in my opinion, I think, yeah, the library use case is the winner here, right? So I think we don't have to scope out like the library part out of the CLI, right? So I mean, we can use this, of course, as a library as well, but I think it needs more work. What versus Crane is already a library, right? So we can just use that one, and it's also Go container based, right? So it has a Go container registry implementation. So once we need maybe some other functionality in there, right, interacting with the registry, this is probably maybe there also an option to make things a bit easier, right? So would you agree that the Crane is the better option?
To me, that's what it seems. Yeah.
Just based on that first line alone, like you said.
Oh yeah, this one you mean?
Yeah, that it's a library that you can use. I think that
Yeah.
that decides it on its own.
Okay, good. So then decision, yeah, so maybe some decision outcome should be also added here. And draw
It's
it.
the first line. Because we discussed last week, so I already added. Right?
All right.
A little bit below, yeah, above the table.
Oh yeah. All right.
Maybe
Okay,
not very
so
obvious.
good.
Maybe.
Yeah. All right, good. That's good. And then we have the other option is to have Zod or Docker registry. I mean, there's of course more options. I'm not sure if we should focus in this ADR on more options, because as I said, like long term, maybe other options would be better. But in the short run, like making something work, having a registry, I am open to both options, right? So like Docker distribution has the advantage that it's somehow solid, right? It's proven to work in a lot of use cases. This is the advantage of Docker distribution. Zod is a kind of a more lightweight. Yeah.
I mean, from what I found, both seemed good and strong, and both had production use cases. One of the big differences was that Zod, you can build it from the source, and it's like in a single binary, whereas I don't think Docker registry can come like that.
It is also a single binary.
Okay.
You can also run it as a binary without Docker, right? So it's you can write
Okay.
it also. Yeah, you can run it as a binary as well. It's no problem.
Okay, then I didn't find that. Otherwise, they were very similar. Differences came maybe in like signing and verifying and attaching metadata, where there's slightly different methods on how to do it. Like Zod has built-in cosign and notation. Like I haven't researched a lot into it, but that was a feature that they prominently put forward, whereas Docker has their Docker content trust, which from what I found is a bit more complex than cosign. And for metadata, they have annotations, which is similar, but doesn't have the full same feature set as notation.
One other important consideration that we probably missed, I'm not sure if we have written it down in the requirements.
It's under in review. The last one. Yeah.
And this is the important part. Yeah, so this is the core requirement that we have here if it's supports OCI spec 1.1. I think
Both said they were fully OCI compliant.
Yeah, but OCI spec 1.1.
Is that different?
Yeah, it's slightly newer, came out, or it was
recently
accepted a couple of months ago. So
okay,
and there are like, as most OCI stuff, I think if you follow it, I think people thought that OCI 1.1 would be accepted like a year ago. Things are delayed because, yeah, there are a lot of companies involved in implementing these types of things. So even now, like there are a lot of like implementations that aren't fully OCI compliant. So what was OCI compliant pre 1.1 is true, but the question is it 1.1 compliant?
Yeah. So we need to see if Zod is also 1.1 compliant. And I'm not sure that, I mean, Docker distribution is also in version 3, 1.1 compliant. I mean, the current version is not compliant. So we need to use, when we use Docker distribution, we need to use the latest batch and not the latest release, right? So I think this is something that
Yeah, I'll definitely look into it then.
You might want to look at the release notes.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right.
I'm not sure if 1.1 is supported here. We need to take a look, right? Good. Okay, so apart from that, what do you think? Outcome wise, should we risk it with the Zod or should we stick with Docker distribution, right?
I
And see that
honestly
we
think
can-
both work.
I mean, I think that both will work because like if we use the, but it depends. In my opinion, it depends a bit on also on this interface here, right? So if we, I mean, it's not really depending on interface what type of interface we're choosing, right? No, it will work anywhere, right? So yeah, so I think both options are fine. Question is, should we risk it with the Zod or should we, give NuKit a chance or not?
I'm a bit like questioning if it's worth making this decision now. I think a good alternative is to let's implement the Scopio feature, run Zot or distribution side by side instead.
Mhm.
We can
Okay.
and then just like we can figure stuff out how we do it later.
If we do clean Go interfaces, then it doesn't really matter because you can just strip it out and put something else in it and just make a different call.
Yeah, and the interfaces are anyway standardized, so this makes the switch is not that big, right? So it's not a kind of a one-way decision that we have to stick with forever. Yeah, so let's delay the decision then.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, but so this one was about the this is the template, right? And you put already in the template, it's the same code, it's the same
Yeah, Scopio Crane is the same.
All right, so let's move this one.
But we need to be practical about this in the sense that you will have to start building something. So the way I see it, Zot seems easier to get started with. So might just start building with that in the beginning, and then I know this sounds super cheesy, but write good Go code out of the gate so that it is modular and it's not really tightly coupled to any of these choices for the registry.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Good. So the actions here is still running, or is it? Oh, it's the third one. Okay, the second one.
Yeah. Why is lint running right now? I'll look into it. I'm on phone.
Oh, it was
Why
just because I approved it, right? So that's why it's
no, but it shouldn't. It shouldn't trigger.
Okay.
What did it trigger? Wait, what did the pull request contain?
The lint number 3 was basically, is it the build number 3? Oh yeah, it's
Yeah, just look at what was in 10.
It's this MADR.
Files changed. Files changed.
file changed is the package and the yeah.
Yeah, I will look into it because it is not supposed to trigger.
Should not run to the lint, huh?
No, because if you look at if you go into lint in the workflow, the definition,
Okay, I
so you
think
go,
yeah.
no, the definition for the workflow. So you have to go back twice. Mm-hmm.
You mean in code.
Code, yeah, it's that's the easiest. If you go to lint, it only should trigger on Go files, and yeah, another victory for globbing, I guess.
Well, I mean that's correct, right? But it's triggered on branches main. Right? So pull request review on branches main. So it will.
Wait. That okay? I'll look in. Sorry, once I get in front of a personal computer,
Okay.
that does not work. I'll look in. This is incorrect. This should not be the case.
I mean, it makes sense for me if like because it's
No, but it should only trigger on files that are Go files. But there's no Go files in the pull request that you have just approved.
yeah, but the trigger is on pull request review branch main. So this is where it triggers.
And the path
This is-
and the path and the path has
This is
to
just the
match.
filter, right? This is the filter on the files that should be considered for linting. No?
I don't think so. The
Oh,
on,
okay.
well, I'll look into it. But if
Right,
I
okay,
remember
I understand
correctly,
now, yeah.
if I remember correctly, the on keyword is the trigger. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So it should make okay, good. I understand.
Yeah,
So
I'll look into it. I'll look into it. This is incorrect.
okay, good. And then we have the build. Okay, so sounds good for me. Let's move. Let's approve this one. The skeleton code. If no one has objections, let's merge this one. Okay. So we can get started. And yeah, this one this I will close, right? Or should we like the comparison Docker should be? I mean, we can change the decision later, right? So I think I would just go with
Yeah, it's not set in stone, and this will
Yeah.
evolve, and then we'll just update. I think this is
Yeah.
more about having a reasoning behind what we're doing instead
Yeah.
of making hard decisions.
So I think we just get started with, and then we can change it so it's not a big decision. Good. So if you clean up Roald, those two files that are needed, then I'll merge them and
Yep.
we can get started then. Okay. So I think Roald, you also started on other tasks then, right?
Yeah, it was the first draft of the satellite. It very recently started. So the idea was to use Crane to pull images from remote registry like Docker Hub and push them to, well, it's going to be a Zot local registry then.
So this is kind of the first implementation of moving images from taking from the list and moving them into the local registry. So I think we should get started with that one.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. Apart from that, are there any topics to discuss? Yeah, the proposal maybe. If you have time to look at the proposal, I made my comments today already. So yeah, give it a look, and yeah, I didn't submit it. Yeah, I made some comments. This is the proposal. Keep if you have some inputs, go ahead and make some comments to that as well. Okay. Yeah. Apart from that, I am done with topics. Are there anything from your side?
I would be eager to get my hands dirty with some Go code as well.
Sounds good. Just throw me as a reviewer when you get something that you want me to look at, and I'll try.
Yeah,
to...
but how do we begin? So Zot has to be the first thing, right? Because you need a registry to be able to interact with something, and then you need some sort of interface definitions in the sense of the Golang interfaces, and then just use Crane to basically move the replicated image.
I can kind of break it down for you in a couple of steps then. So the first thing that's going to be required is some implementation of the store interface.
Yes.
In our case, in memory would be the easiest.
Can we put this down in an issue or something? Because I'm on the phone and I will forget.
I will.
Well, we could put this in this issue here, right? So there is already the issue for that. Let me just break it down.
So the first thing would be to create like an in-memory store implementation.
Mm-hmm.
And this would then return like the images that are expected to be replicated. So it would just basically mimic that. The second thing to do would be to start working on the Crane replicator. And there are going to be a lot of things that we're going to find with like how the interface is. Like obviously the interface and is not enough with one function. What you can do is basically run Zot locally as like a registry, and just have the Crane replicator configured to be pushing to that. You understand what I mean?
So the way I see it, create the like list. That's what we've discussed. It can be a static file. You just pull it into memory. That's relatively simple to do.
Yeah.
The second ticket or second task could be to implement Zot, and then you bring in Crane, because then you know what you need to replicate, and then you need to know where to replicate it so you can actually build it.
You would skip just go to running a Zot instance in Docker locally on your computer that is accessible on localhost 9000 or whatever. Because then you have a registry. Then you can implement the Crane replicator that is obviously going to need a destination registry endpoint. And you're then in combination with like, okay, great, you have now like the satellite logic and you have the Crane replicator. You're going to find a lot of these different like weird situations when it comes to like, okay, how we're probably not going to have it like as I set it up on a 5-minute ticker. We might want to like figure out, there might want to be a replicator function that has like a event subscription that triggers the satellite logic to update images, if you get what I mean. So that's what I mean. Like, start easy.
So these in my mind then are two separate tickets. One for have that config file, parse it in, pull it into memory, all cool, interact with whatever remote registry you want to pull from, can be Harbor, GHCR, you name it. And the second ticket is basically what you've described, is have some sort of image registry running that you interact with Crane from code from the skeleton that you've already pushed, basically, right? Okay, so I think these are two separate components and we can work in parallel, me and Roald on it.
Yeah, that's kind of why I just set up the two interfaces, was just because like give some sort of like understanding of where to start from. I suspect that there are going to be multiple issues, not in the implementation with Crane, but just like thinking about all the different kind of scenarios that we would end up in, really. And that's like it's going to naturally expand on the functionality, really.
So I will break this with your consent, of course. I will break these into separate issues, so that we can pick them up. And I personally would like to start fooling around with Crane, because it's a bit more difficult than the in-memory store implementation. I don't know, Roald, how comfortable you are with Go. We can switch it around. But if you're just starting out, I think it's easier for you to start with the in-memory store.
I mean, I have already played around a bit with Crane and a local Docker registry where I pulled some images from Docker Hub and pushed them into the local registry with Crane.
Then we can switch it up, or I'll leave it to you.
I don't mind. If you want to go for try out Crane a bit, definitely go for it.
Yeah, if you don't mind, then that would be nice.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, so just get those going. I think this is great, and then just tag me in pull requests.
Yep.
I'll look at them.
Yeah. And I'll fix the pipeline, and I'll fix the issue template, because that's relatively simple. Well, I'm not sure about the pipeline because GitHub Actions, but yeah.
Great.
Okay,
Perfect.
perfect. Yeah,
Right.
very nice. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Have
Thank
a
you,
nice day and
everyone.
evening. Bye bye. Yeah,
good
thank
evening.
you. Jan.
Don't worry,
Didn't say
don't
much.
worry. No, next time.
All right. Bye bye, everyone.
Bye.